Listen to this carefully. Everything in your life is created from your thoughts. If you have shit thoughts, you will have a shit life. If you believe in yourself, you will have everything you want. You've probably seen that IShowSpeed performed a song at the FIFA World Cup. Do you think he could have come this far if he didn't believe in himself?
Just 4 years ago, I was in my mom's house, in my mom's room, streaming, barking. Suey! Cristiano Ronaldo! Suey! Lighting my house on fire. A kid from Ohio, Portugal. Just doing anything. And I just performed at the World Cup final. So you know what that means, bro? You can do whatever you want, chap. Just believe. Just believe.
Anything in this world is possible if you think it is. If you have the right mindset, you can live the life that you are dreaming of. I know that sounds like something you've heard 1,000 times, but the reason you've heard it 1,000 times is because it's true, and most people just never actually apply it. To make things easier to explain, I will use working on an online business as an example throughout the video. But this isn't just about running businesses. It's about anything that you do. Could be starting the gym, could be asking someone out, could be quitting a job you hate. Same principle applies everywhere. Let's actually break down where these limiting beliefs even come from, because I don't think people think about this enough. If you think about it, the negative thoughts that we get aren't even ours. It's not that we don't believe in something because we know it doesn't work. Most of the time, it's because someone else has put that thought into our mind. Could be our parents, friends, or even social media. When we tell our parents that we are going to make money online, they will say that's not possible, or they are all scammers or something like that. So we start to believe it's probably true. Here's the thing though, our parents grew up in a completely different time. They didn't grow up with the internet. They didn't see people build businesses from a laptop. So of course their brain says that's not real, because in their world it wasn't. That doesn't mean it's not real in yours. You gotta separate their reality from your reality. Same thing with friends. If your friend has never made $1 online and you tell them your plan, of course they're gonna doubt it. Not because they're trying to bring you down necessarily, but because they're speaking from their own limited experience. Their doubt is not a fact. Their doubt is just a reflection of what they believe is possible for themselves. And social media, man, social media will convince you of anything. You'll see one video saying online business is a scam, and the algorithm will keep feeding you that same energy until you actually start believing it. You have to understand, an opinion repeated 100 times on your feed is still just an opinion. It's not proof. So here's what you actually do about it. When your mind gives you a negative thought, say no. The moment you get a negative thought, say no. If your mind says, you can't, say out loud, no, I can. That's a piece of advice I heard, and it works. It feels stupid the first few times, but your brain listens to what you tell it, not the other way around. Your brain isn't in charge of you. You're in charge of your brain. Most people just never flip that switch. Think about it like this. If a random stranger walked up to you every single day and said, you're gonna fail, you're not good enough, this isn't gonna work, you'd tell them to shut up and walk away. But that's exactly what a lot of you let your own mind do to you every single day, and you just accept it. Would you let a stranger talk to you like that? No. So why are you letting your own thoughts talk to you like that? You have to cut out everything that gives you negative energy. If you are watching bitter, hateful content on social media, guess what your thoughts are going to be? If you have friends that don't believe in you, stop hanging out with them. Your parents might not believe in you, but you gotta keep pushing and prove them all wrong. I know that sounds harsh, cutting people off, but I'm not saying hate them or never talk to them again. I'm saying protect your mind the same way you'd protect your body from something toxic. You wouldn't keep eating food that makes you sick just because it's familiar. Same logic applies to people and content that keep feeding you doubt. Look at who you're following online right now. Actually think about it. Are these people building the life you want, or are they just complaining all day? Your feed is basically a mirror of your future mindset if you're not careful. Curate it like your life depends on it, because honestly, it kind of does. So when something negative happens in your life, you have two options. The first one is to sit there complaining, being upset, and think all the bad things happen to you. The second one is to think that everything that happens in your life happens in your favor and move forward with your life with a positive attitude. Why wouldn't you choose the second option? Why would you want to live a depressed life full of sadness? This is something that has really helped me. Doesn't matter how bad of an event happens in my life, I always tell myself everything happens for a good reason. This mindset has made my life so much happier. Lost money on something? Fine. That's a lesson I needed so I don't lose 10 times more later. Something didn't work out? Fine. That means something better is coming, or I just avoided wasting more time on the wrong thing. I genuinely believe this. And even if it's not always true in some cosmic sense, believing it makes me act better, think clearer than sitting there feeling sorry for myself. And look, I'm not saying fake happiness. I'm not saying ignore real problems. I'm saying choose the interpretation of the problem that actually helps you instead of the one that keeps you stuck. Because at the end of the day, you get to choose the story you tell yourself about what happened. Most people just don't realize they have a choice at all. Stop listening to sad, emotional songs as well. When you listen to those kinds of songs, guess what your energy is going to be like? I'm not saying never listen to music like that ever again. I'm saying be aware of it. If you're already in a low place and you put on the saddest playlist you have, you're basically pouring fuel on the fire. Put on something that actually makes you feel like doing something instead. Another thing that's helped me a lot is gratitude. Sounds cheesy, I know, but hear me out. Every single day, even if it's just in your head while you're doing something else, think of like 3 things that are actually going right in your life. Doesn't have to be huge. Could be, I have a roof over my head. I have people who care about me. I got 1 step closer to my goal today. When you train your brain to look for what's going right, it starts finding more of it. When you train your brain to look for what's going wrong, same thing happens. It just finds more of that instead. Your brain is basically a search engine, and it gives you results based on what you tell it to search for. Most importantly, I want to say, none of what I talked about matters if you don't put in the work. You got to take action towards whatever you want. So for example, making money online. If you don't put in the work, it doesn't matter how good your mindset is. And on the other hand, even if you put in the work but don't have the right mindset, that also doesn't work. You need both. Mindset without action is just daydreaming. Action without mindset is just burnout waiting to happen, because you'll quit the second it gets hard. At the beginning, you have not achieved any big wins, so your brain doesn't have a reason to believe in it. What you gotta do at that point is focus on the small wins. Doesn't matter how small the win is, just appreciate it. Made your first dollar online? That's a win. Celebrate it. Don't brush past it just because it's not $1,000 yet. Got 1 person to follow your page? That's proof it's possible. That's your brain collecting evidence. You're literally building a case file for your own belief, 1 small win at a time, until eventually your brain has no choice but to believe it because you've proven it to yourself over and over. And honestly, that's the real secret nobody tells you. Confidence isn't something you just decide to have one day out of nowhere. Confidence is built from proof. So the fastest way to build unshakable belief in yourself is not to sit around trying to convince your brain with words. It's to go collect small wins so consistently that your brain literally can't argue with you anymore. One more thing before I wrap this up. Watch how you talk about yourself, even as a joke. If you keep saying, "I'm so bad at this, I always mess things up, I'll probably fail anyway," even if you're just joking around with your friends, your subconscious doesn't really know the difference between a joke and a real statement. It just hears the words and files them away. So be careful with that. Talk about yourself the way you'd talk about someone you actually respect. That's what I had to say about killing limiting beliefs. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.